Ciao.
This episode of In a Few Minutes is sponsored by BetterHelp, online counseling that's there for you. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health at BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, BetterHelp.com/a-few.
Nobody cares.
Why do you think your music is so popular, Lou?
I didn't know it was popular.
You've had 2 sellouts in Sydney before you've even come here, so it is popular, apparently.
I didn't know that.
Lou, do you think it's...
I don't know. Hot Nuclear Death, by the way. They used to play the Rat, didn't they?
That's right, yeah, back in the day.
Back in the day. Peter Cohen's here with us, everybody. Peter Cohen, writing and a tech editor for RCR Wireless, online at rcrwireless.com. And, of course, you can also follow him on Twitter, FLARGH, Flarg.
I saw them on a triple bill with Fishbone and Bim Scalabim.
Nice. I talked to Ty the other day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Morning, Guy Ty?
Morning, Guy Ty. Talked to Ty the other day, and it was interesting because it was a very Ty interaction, which, I'm sorry, I used to intern with him, and so I was used to, if I would try to ask him a real question, it would take about 15 minutes to get a real answer because, you know, he was a morning show guy, and so he was always on. And then he actually texted me when he woke up the following morning, which, you know, for him, because he's on the East Coast, was in the middle of my night. But I happened to still be up. And what's interesting is he actually, we talked. It was kind of nice. It was kind of wonderful. And that will mean nothing to most of the people listening, but I thought you'd get a kick out of, I talked to Morning Guy Ty.
This is definitely going down the 80s college alternative rabbit hole, circa Boston, Massachusetts. Yep.
Yeah. Right. So I said yesterday that we would talk about something fun, and we never did. We stayed grumpy the whole show. Before we get to your wishes for the new year, because I know it feels like we're far away from it. We're actually only about 6 weeks away from the new year, I believe, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
We'll talk about what Peter Cohen expects from Apple in a moment. We'll talk about what he wants from Apple in the new year as well. I want to say really quickly, though, I finally watched The Velvet Underground on Apple TV+.
And what'd you think?
I think I was right. I should have seen it on the big screen. It's interesting because I don't know that much about The Velvet Underground. I had a couple of albums. I know that Lou Reed is cool. I actually kind of think after watching this documentary, I think a tiny bit less of him, but at the same time, I understand why what happened. I mean, because the Velvet Underground was this really neat thing, but he wanted it to be more like a neat rock thing. And so eventually it became his band as opposed to a band he was in. At least that's the impression that I get from the documentary. What's great about the documentary, though, is, I guess it's Todd, is it Hayes or Haynes? The director of the documentary is very much into film as a medium. So he's not sitting somebody in front of a camera and saying, tell me a story. Somebody will be talking and they might be up in a little square up in the corner, but then there's another square the same size as them below it showing some stuff that was going on in the kitchen, or, not the kitchen, the factory. So he might be, somebody's talking up in the corner, so he might be showing something that's happening in the factory, and then there's just Lou Reed staring at the camera from some experimental Andy Warhol film while the whole thing is going on. It's film as film. It's film as art, not just film as recording. And it's wonderful if you're a fan of film. It's interesting if you want to know more about New York in the 60s, especially that art scene. It's interesting if you want to know more about the Velvet Underground. The only thing I wish is, that we played art movies longer than a week, because I would love to go someplace with a big screen and see it. Thankfully, I have a bigger TV than I used to, so at least I got that. But just a well-made documentary.
Well, when the metaverse is here, Ken,
dude,
it's going to change filmmaking forever.
Dude, I honestly very much look forward to being able to put on a comfortable pair of glasses, blacking out everything except for the screen I'm staring at, and then make it look like Well, not the Brattle, because I mean the Brattle has a great program, but a crappy theater. I would like to go sit in the Wong maybe, or the old Charles Theater, which was the tallest screen in Boston back in the day. Yeah, because this show is like Boston now.
I want to go to the IMAX at Jordan's.
Okay, I don't know what to... Oh my God. Wow. Ride Mom. You remember that? That just seemed like such a horrible ad campaign. Anyway, that was seriously all circa 1993, 1994 that Peter and I were just doing. Let's talk instead about 2022. Let's go ahead and do what you expect for the first half. And then please, if we could, I'd like to take a break. And then we'll come back and talk about what you want for next year. Let's start, though, with what you're expecting from Apple in 2022.
SOBS.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what SOBS is?
Did I forget something?
Same old.
Oh, okay. Sorry. No, I haven't heard that.
Good Lord.
Yeah, well,
Good
I mean,
grief.
Whatever, you know.
Okay.
What I tend to say is third verse same as the first.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So no, I think actually we will see more of the same. You know, Apple over the course of the past couple years has been going through, I think, a lot of internal process. You know, as part of this change for the Mac platform. We're starting to see the results of that now with the new MacBook Pros. So, we're going to see that continue. Mm-hmm. We've still got some Pro end hardware that needs to get fleshed out. So I'm looking forward to what the iMac is going to look like next year. I want a bigger iMac with a more powerful system under the hood. Because there's obviously a Pro application for that sort of thing. And the 24 is just, it's kind of it's a nice starting point, but it's not a good ending point for that particular form factor. Right. So let's see what Apple can do there.
Hang on one second. So you're thinking they will actually go back to something like an iMac Pro without, I mean, it seems to me like the iMac at this point could just be, and you can get it with the M1, the M1 Pro, or the M1 Max. I mean, does that actually become a different computer that you buy, or is it just another configuration?
Yeah, because Apple's really pushing this XDR display technology. So I think Apple's going to try to differentiate the iMac there. I think it makes sense to make a Pro XDR model, for example. Okay.
Wow. The cost of that has to be so huge, though. Either that or they bring down the cost of the XDR.
Apple sold a ridiculous number of Thunderbolt displays just for the fact that it was an Apple display.
That's true. I would love to know the numbers on the wheels for the Mac Pro. I don't mean like I know they're $600 or something. I mean, I would love to know how many of them they actually sold. Well, look at that blessed handkerchief, which we haven't talked about in a while. But look at that blessed handkerchief. It's $19. And it's like, well, gotta have 5 of those. Well, no, you don't. But
no,
yeah, I
iPod
do.
Sock.
I actually joked about that. I said what they did was they just cut the iPod socks that they could never sell open, and then sold that as the thing. All right, so you're expecting changes in the Mac line, obviously. I say obviously. Is there something else that you're expecting, or do we break now and then we come back and talk about what Peter Cohen wants?
We're going to see the Apple Watch that we didn't get this year.
Okay. Which Apple Watch is that?
The Apple Watch that was hinted but not discovered, and the one that's actually going to do things that we want it to do more of. Everybody's got their own pet thing, right? Some people want it to be a glucometer. Some people want it to be a mood ring. I want it to be a genie in a bottle.
I don't know what that means exactly. So basically, you're saying that there's going to be another Apple Watch.
There's going to be another Apple Watch,
right,
but it's going to be significantly different than this one. This one was just stylistically a little bit different. I think that this one is going to fundamentally be pushed much further in that health direction that we were just talking about.
Okay, the next one, you mean? Okay. Anything else for this year that you're expecting?
Nah, well, yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff, but who cares, man?
Well, I care. That's why I'm asking. Well, yeah, but I mean, that's, we have people on, guys and gals. We have people on to find out what they think. Tell you what, you're right. It is probably more revealing to find out what you want. Everybody, hang with us, won't you? Peter Cohen is going to share with us his deepest desires after this. More with Peter in a moment, but first, I read a pretty insightful Twitter thread recently. Part of it said people are collectively burned out. Attention spans have shortened. Fatigue is real. This is true of literally everyone. I don't know if it's true of literally everyone, though it does feel like a lot sometimes. If it feels that way to you, there is help out there. BetterHelp, sponsor of today's show. Let's say you'd like somebody to talk to, a professional who can help with all of it. Answer a few questions and BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. BetterHelp happens all online, so your counselor is on your tablet, on your computer, on the phone, wherever you need them. You and your therapist connect in a safe and private online environment. That means you can find somebody who deals with your particular need, not just somebody who's nearby. And yet, you get the same protections as you would heading to somebody's office, the same confidentiality and help. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/afew. That's HELP, betterhelp.com/afew, as in a few minutes. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that is BetterHelp, HELP, betterhelp.com/afew. And thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's show. Back now with Peter Cohen, one of the tech editors and a writer over at RCR Wireless, online at rcrwireless.com. All right, so we talked about what you're expecting. I think maybe I should change this question, actually, to what do you want next year? Because everybody has come out and said they're going to continue their transition, of the Mac line, which, is a given. You can say any year there's going to be a new iPad, there's going to be a new iPhone, there's going to be, all that stuff. Everybody is absolutely right. There's going to be something or some things big happening in the Mac line because there are Macs that still haven't made that move, haven't made that transition. So it's not you, it's me. I'm asking obvious questions. Let's talk about what you want. What would you like to see Apple do this year?
So we've seen Apple develop a very interesting strategy with Apple Arcade. For example, where Apple underwrites the development and production of games from established companies that already have a presence in the arena, and in return for that production cost absorption, it remains an exclusive to Apple Arcade, at least insofar as Apple's definition of its services go. But like we've seen some of the same games pop up on, for example, Nintendo Switch or what have you, and Apple's also doing stuff with classic games where it's sort of like rebooting them and so on. But so far, Apple's control over the Apple Arcade ecosystem, besides actually controlling the pipeline of stuff, has been adjacent to all these businesses. What I would love to see Apple do, and what they will never do, is its own first-party game studio, showing off exactly what you can do with Metal, exactly what you can do, tuning your code, building your code in Swift, and just absolutely maxing everything for Apple Silicon, and giving people a showcase for what the entertainment possibility of this hardware is as a game platform. Because I love my Mac, and I actually game on it too. I told you at the outset that I was streaming games on my M1 Mac. I'm also playing native stuff. I after an 8-year hiatus, I recently plugged back into EVE Online, a massively multiplayer online game, which I lost so much time to back in the day, specifically because they released a Mac an M1 native client for their software. So there are opportunities here, but there isn't that AAA big studio that's the first party studio associated with Apple that you've seen companies like Sony and Microsoft do, like Microsoft most famously with Bungie, the snatched away from Apple gamers of yore, and forced to become an Xbox sweatshop. Oh, heaven forbid. Heaven forbid. But I would love to see Apple do that, but I don't think that they ever will. It's just not in their DNA to do that, and I think it's bad, and I think it's a lost opportunity. And as a gamer, my heart bleeds a little bit when I think about it too much.